Money no they bring happiness to the picture. Love in the 40, you not shy. Now I'm about to be like if I cheat on you. To the big one. Love in the 40, you not shy. Now I'm about to be like if I cheat on you, I'm sorry. And if you cheat on me, come on! Block it! That's
Just let's have a feel of some big soccer there as we'll be looking at big soccer this morning. And to let you know, a good one for Maccabi Haifa. 20 years waiting UEFA group stage. They were able to do it well against the old lady Juventus. Welcome you on the show, 360 Sport on Trust TV. I am Adeni Ajishafe. Let's start from FIFA Under-17 World Cup taking place in India, where a Nigerian team, that is the Flamingos, they were beaten by, actually they lost to Germany in that game. After leading in the first half, they scored the first goal, courtesy of a Miracle Busani, and they could not hold their own as they lost out 2-1 in the second half. Germany came to the party, they were able to get 2 more goals and they score. While right now, Nigeria just have to up their game as they face New Zealand, also Chile in their remaining games in Group B. Well, I have in the studio with me, Busayo Oluokere. Good to have Busayo.
It's always good to be here again on 360 Sports. And, well, like you started on the Under-17 side, disappointing defeat for the girls. I watched the game from where I was, and I was really one trying to ginger everybody to see the class of what the girl could do, because I believe in the team. We've been together from the camping, going to places, and making sure that they have the right sort of mindset. And when I saw the German squad yesterday, I looked at the height, I looked at everything. I said, these guys are players because they are physically not in the match of our girls. I wonder if those girls were 17 years old. But leaving that aside, tactically in the second half, they got it better ahead of the Bankololo Kere side. I spoke to him after the game, and he assured me that they will come out good in their second game. They played 2 good friendly matches against Galatasaray and Fenerbahce team in the 10 days they spent in Turkey. At least they should have learned 1 or 2 things from that. And I believe that it's not over yet. They can do something. I trust this man, and I trust the girls that the Germans knew that immediately they took out Zazu, the captain of the side, with that injury. I knew they would overpower us, because I think Zazu was making those impact up front. But it's not over yet for the girls. Let's not write them off. I believe they can still come out good in their second game. Yeah,
at least for the fact that they got a goal to some extent, despite the fact that they lost that game, at least it can give them some boost that, okay, if we could score against Germany. In fact, that first half, they played well.
They played out Germany in the first half. Like I said, immediately that injury came to Afenda Zozu. I began to wonder the tactical balance. You still have Omomi, the girl from Nigeria, on the bench. We had some players who probably could Macaulay might want to look at. Let's see these girls. They did well in the first game. And when you guys come in, you've seen it at the global stage. Most of these girls are seeing the country, India, for the very first time. They are seeing how it's played out in their career. And gradually they will step into the game. But losing the first game might be a demoralizing factor for them. But if we could just get it right in the psychology of the girls and tell them that girls is not over, we can do it. Put it up, get yourself right, then go for the next game against New Zealand. I think Chile defeated New Zealand 3-1. So why not Nigeria cannot score goals against them?
It is very possible that our ladies will actually do us proud by the time they face New Zealand on Friday. And right now, they just have to let that match pass and move on to see how they can duel against New Zealand. Well, Flamingos, we are not actually relenting our effort in supporting you. Just go out there and do your thing on Friday against New Zealand before you face Chile, who defeated the same New Zealand. Well, right now, let's focus on big soccer. Nigerian Big Soccer League just ended in Kebbi, where 4 teams slugged it out for the final, the winner of this year's edition. You have Kada from Kaduna, you have Kebbi Big Soccer team. We also have Smart City and also Badagry. Busayo is here to talk about that. You were there, you covered that event, and let's talk about Beach Soccer.
Well, when you say I'm just in focus on the Beach Soccer League, one thing that is hurting me at this time is I'm still waiting for the NFF to see a reason why the Super Sand Eagles must be at the Nations Cup in Mozambique later this month. You know, far behind 2019 at the AGA in Benin City, Edo State, the past administration or the past board of the NFF under Melvin Amaju Pinnick, who yesterday said they should forgive him, whoever, that's aside, who coming in, said that beach soccer should be suspended from national games and national engagements because we don't have a league. And people who felt, okay, we don't have a league, let's take it upon ourselves, let's go into the system, let's get back to the game. We have the stand in Kaduna, we have the stand in KB. Badagry is the first place, or is the first center where we added beach soccer football. And so when you see that states from there are now coming up on board, at the first edition, we had 8 teams started the race. And KB were the first champion. That was immediately after COVID-19, we were coming in. We did Abuja Beach Soccer in Abuja in 2020. Coming out from there, we saw that teams are now getting up. Now, last year was KB as champions. The second season came. We started with 10 teams. 10 teams, gradually, we had Smart City, Namco Patigi, and Kogi coming to join the fray. And also Keme Galaxy coming to join the fray. And looking at it, that shows development. And from their essence, a champion was to emerge at the Super 4. Kaduna was supposed to have hosted from July. We should have finished the season. But moving up and down, delays, political engagements, and that. Even till about 2 weeks ago, they were told they couldn't host it. And within just weeks, KB decided that, okay, come and play it here. We want to host. And everybody went to KB. On getting to KB, oh, it was as if the homeboys, the number 1 in Africa, the number 42nd in the world, KB Fishers would just ride away everything. Don't forget what happened between them and Kaduna in the first edition. And it started first game. Kada Beach Soccer team went on defeating Badagry 15-4. KB actually narrowly defeat Smart City in that first game. On the second day, Southwest Derby, Smart City had played Badagry in that game, the first game. In the second game, everybody was open for. The fans there were waiting to see KB defeating Kada, but that didn't come to pass. It ended 6-4 for the Kada Beach Soccer, and at that time, mathematically, they were already champions even before the Sunday game where they played out Smart City in the final game. But all the same, now the second season has shown to us that we are ready, maybe 90% ready, 80% ready, from the beach soccer, from the Nigerian Beach Soccer Association, with the league, are ready to produce the talent of players that can match the likes of Senegal at the Nations Cup. But yesterday, I was told the board of the NFF I met. I don't know what the outcome has come and play, because even while I was in KB, I was pushing out the live stream of the games to the president, board members, to tell them it is time for beach soccer. It is time. This is the first tournament in your administration. This is the first tournament minus the FIFA Under-17, because it's already a partial program. Now, this is your first major tournament that you could have asked your national team to go and participate. But as of today, we don't know even if the beach soccer team, Nigeria, the Sun Eagles, will be in Mozambique. But for me, 2 years down the line, production of development of players, the venues we've played, moved from the first phase, went to Ilorin, Kwara State. We moved from Kwara, we went to KB at the second phase. Third phase was in Badagry. Now KB finished it up. I wonder if the Kaduna State government and the Ministry of Youth and Sport there under Simon here, the commissioner, had seen the way the Kada Beach Soccer team picked the trophy right there in KB. How would they feel that they were supposed to host? And they were supposed to, maybe it would have been more dubious, more joy for them to have come out to win. That's the presentation. Look at this young guy who was voted man of the match. Was there? The guy is just about 17 or 18 years. He's playing beach soccer for the very first time. The goalkeeper for Badagry didn't come out. And against those big boys, he stood his own. So I tell you that the game is gradually growing. The game is developing. And like what the NBSA is doing, is meant to do is develop the players. It's the NFF that will tell you, okay, you go for this tournament. So for me, 2 years, they've done so massively. That's Dozier Frank, the captain of the Kada Beach Soccer, experienced, versatile. He won 2 awards, the MVP and also the highest goal scorer, about 30 goals in the second season 2 of the beach soccer. Last year, he went to Tanko Emmanuel, his player from Kada Beach Soccer. So why wouldn't you say they've not done well. I think the NBSL, they deserve the commendation they get at this time. Kudos to the chairman of the NBSA, Solomon Yayakwande, the vice president, vice chairman, Prince Daddy Thompson, Oladimeji.
Well,
the national coordinator.
From the way it is, from all you've said so far, the national coordinator, Mahmoud Adeja, has done well by making sure this particular league actually see the light of the day. Against all odds, Ilorin, Badagry, Kebbi, Kaduna, everywhere, they moved around. They were able to achieve Nigerian Big Soccer League 2022 season, and it ended well.
Yeah.
Good one. Now, aside covering the event, let's talk about, you mentioned the Nigerian team, the Soccer Sun Eagles. They're supposed to go to Maputo, Mozambique, for the African Big Soccer Nations Cup. And right now, is there any guarantee? Is there any at least, let there be an iota of, okay, are they going or not?
For now, it's like I still said, they pushed, and I know several things they've actually gone in place. At the time, some of our colleagues were posting up updates that there were some deals, money being paid, blah. I don't want to go to that aspect. And I want the NFF today to really look at, you are starting a new administration. Yesterday we saw the release from Demon. I couldn't make it to the Sunday Dakora for the inauguration of the new board. I was having a meeting in the office. And when you are ushering yourself into a new board, the first thing is to, some of the current board members are from the past board. You know, FIFA Under-17 is already scheduled. You have beach soccer in October. You have Under-23 qualifiers in October. So it will be so saddening that after the completion of a season, the players are eager. The players have traveled to different states, roads. Look at the bad roads in Nigeria, for crying out loud. And those players have risked their life. And at the time when there's a tournament ahead of them, just within 2 weeks after they finish the Super 4, and you'll be telling them you can't travel, you can't participate in the Nations Cup. When do you want to get the players to get the vibe from, the encouragement about playing the league, the Beach Soccer League for next season? So I think the lead board of the NFF to quickly look at, call to the campaign, get the technical crew. With what we've seen, we saw ex-internationals, the likes of Ishaka Lawale, Abdullah Issa, Okemiri Ogbonna. No, we saw Victor Tale. 4 of them played in the Big Soccer Legend team, or Big Soccer's start team versus the KB All-Star team. That's the All-Stars game right there. So I think they've impacted enough in getting the players. Now, the Big Soccer is growing like wildfire. During the Super 4, for the first time, the Katsina Beach Soccer guy, our chairman, came to see for himself, how does it look like? What do you need to put in place to grow beach soccer? And he said, wow, with what you have seen, I think they are going back home to go and start a club. He said to me, he's expecting me to join them in Katsina to come and maybe do commentaries or whatever of the game. So that means it's growing. Next year, I can assure you that the league we have 10 or so. Abba is ready, already coming up with something. Bonny Allied is already coming up with something in Port Harcourt there. So I think beach soccer now in Nigeria is the fastest growing and is moving all around different states to make sure that by the time by next season, maybe we're having from 8, we have 10 to 12. That means you cannot go, some people will go to this center to go and play their games, and so while some other teams will go in this center to have their games, some will go to the other center. So for me, from the NBSA, they have developed, they have produced, discovered players, raw talent, or some of the ex-international that played in the league, because the likes of Isiaka Olawale played for NAPCO Patigi, a club from the region, the water side of Kwara State. Victor Tale played for Conference Kogi Beach Soccer team from Kogi. He was the captain of the side, and if not for lack of funds for them, they were already in a place to qualify before the third phase. So we have all those players. They can just add it up together to come and expect themselves to play in the national team. Some of the coaches said, with what we've seen in the Super 4, I think Nigeria is ready, and the NFF should please call the national team to camp.
Well, it has been a good one coming from Busayo there. Well, we've been looking at the beach soccer development in Nigeria, where the Nigerian Beach Soccer League actually ended in Kebbi. Well, Kada right now, they are the king of this season and they are celebrating. Busayo has really talked about all the activities that has to do with developing that sport. We just, the new NFF board members, they do everything possible to push so that the big soccer eagles, they call them Super Sand Eagles, can make it to Maputo. It is very possible. If we start early, we can actually get there. Well, let's move away from big soccer. We've been focusing on that. Let's talk about UEFA Champions League before we wrap it up. Matches were played for Maccabi Haifa, 20 years journey. They got it right against Juventus. As if I know, I mentioned it against Yusuf and Madia, and it happened. Good one for Maccabi Haifa, 2-0 against Juventus. They were able to do it well. Axile scoring those 2 goals. PSG 1-1 against Benfica. Dinamo Zagreb also shared the spot against Red Bull Salzburg. AC Milan at San Siro. What happened to them? Chelsea went blue, although some AC Milan fans are ruined that. They say where they were robbed. That's football, you know. Celtic, they also lost against RB Leipzig 2-0 at home over there in Scotland. Shakhtar Donetsk, familiar for against Real Madrid. They nearly went away with it, but for Rudiger, who actually came with his head, rightly borrowed from antics from Nigeria, Mutiu Adepoju there. Copenhagen 0, Man City 0, and Sevilla, surprisingly, they did well against Borussia Dortmund 1-1. It went down. They are looking at those results quickly. Busao, let's look at this. Let's take it group by group. From Group E now, Dinamo Zagreb, AC Milan, Red Bull Salzburg, and Chelsea. Let's look at that group as it went down. First of all, let's look at the table. The way the table is right now, and then you look at this particular group where even though it's dicey, very, very dicey, but you have to give it up to Chelsea, going away to shock AC Milan, home and away.
You know, after they lost their first game to Salzburg, the past coach Thomas Tuchel was sacked, and since then the current coach made 1 or 2 changes, changed the pattern, and now he's looking at Chelsea, is looking hot, both in the EPL and also the Champions League. The group is still dicey. It's not over yet because AC Milan, Zagreb, and Salzburg, I don't think will be a ride for them. The 2 games they've lost is to Chelsea. So that means if they get another 4 points against Zagreb and Salzburg, they might still make it through to the next round. But I still believe that Chelsea, just a win, will guarantee them a place in the next round. And AC Milan or Salzburg might actually be the second team that move out of that group.
Good one there. UEFA Champions League. Good one for Aubameyang and the entire squad. Mason Mount, fantastic player for what he did for Chelsea. And Chelsea came to the party defeating AC Milan. Although, like I said, some Milan fans are not happy about this. Well, Celtic, Leipzig, and Shakhtar Donetsk versus Real Madrid. They nearly run away with that particular scoreline, winning against Real Madrid over there in Warsaw, Poland, where they are playing their games. But right now, Group F, as it's standing, Real Madrid, despite the fact that they share this spot against Shakhtar Donetsk, right now, they're still, at least they've qualified from their group. Good one for Real, showing why they are the champions of Europe. When you look, let's look at the table of the Group F. Right now, Real Madrid, they share that spot against Shakhtar, but now they've qualified, at least.
You expect it from a champion, defending champion, the team with the highest win in the UEFA Champions League. This group is also still not guaranteed. Celtic is out of the race now. And so either a win for any of the 2 sides, just get your first 3 points in your next game, automatically you will be to the next round. And for me, maybe I tip a Leipzig to go through.
Well, let's wait till that time because Shakhtar can actually spring us surprises. Now we go back to the UEFA Champions League where we've talked about Group E and F, and now we are going down to Borussia Dortmund. Well, FC Copenhagen, Manchester City, Sevilla. A lot of matches we actually played, but Manchester City, despite showing this spot against the Danish team, Copenhagen, they've been able to qualify, also joining Real Madrid as the first 2 teams to scale through in the UEFA Champions League for this season. And right now, Man City, yes, they are top there. They have 10 points alongside the Real Madrid. Also, they've qualified. Both of them, they show their class. No goal, but they actually made a statement. Borussia Dortmund 7. Sevilla and Copenhagen seems to be like, okay, let's just remain here. This is where we belong.
No, you can't take it from Man City. I was wondering why they won't get the goals from yesterday. Mahrez losing a penalty. A goal was disallowed due to VAR. Copenhagen were the whooping boys of the group even before the game started. When we saw the group. Sevilla, for me, disappointing, but they have crashed out. They cannot make it out. It's Dortmund, Man City saying bye-bye in that group.
Man City Dortmund showing their class in that particular group there. Good one. And we look at Group H, where Maccabi Haifa of Israel, seriously, even though they ain't going nowhere, but the fact that they were able to defeat the old lady, Juventus, against all odds, 20 years, the first time they will be winning in a group stage game, and that's the celebration for Maccabi Haifa. 2-0 against Juventus. Azizi scoring those 2 goals. PSG Benfica, despite area of stars, well, look at the way they celebrated it. That's Maccabi Haifa of Israel. Really, they need to celebrate this particular.
The former club of our own, the likes of Yakuba Egbe.
Yes.
Delia Yunuba, I guess.
All of them were there. A lot of Nigerians played in Israel.
And first time winning against former champions. It goes down your record. This is a world day. Maybe the club owner or the club president might be saying, let's just go and enjoy ourselves for a day or two. Because against a big team like Juventus, I didn't see it coming. And congratulations to them. They might not be going through, but they made a statement.
Of course.
And the statement is anybody. I don't want to use the words of our own man talking about when he said, yeah, anybody can be beaten. And that's the game of football. You win some, you lose some, you draw some. So today is their day. Let them keep shining. Enjoy the moment. I'm
happy for the fact that Maccabi actually, I think they heard what I said, because a lot of people wrote them off and they came to the party. 3-3 point piece between them and Juventus. And you have PSG 8, Benfica 8.
Look at Juventus, big champions, crashing out because mathematically it might not be. They need to play Benfica and Paris Saint-Germain in the next 2 games. They need to win. If they win, they can be assured. But
they can get 6 points. That would be 9
points. And Benfica needs to play Maccabi Haifa in the next game.
So it's very dicey for Juventus scaling through. So this particular battle, this group, one of the toughest.
Can be still and done with Benfica and Paris Saint-Germain going to the next round.
Well, let's wait and see what if Benfica or PSG loses their 2 remaining matches.
And they need to lose to Juventus in their last 2 games. But Maccabi Haifa might be.
But this, don't you think this now that let's see, for Maccabi to have won that game yesterday could have given them that hope, that belief, that motivation that okay, we can do yes.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Mathematically now, Maccabi Haifa needs to beat Paris Saint-Germain and Benfica in their next game, in their last 2 games. Jove, we have to beat Benfica and Paris Saint-Germain in the last 2 games. And you know it's one after the other. Jove will either be taking up Benfica in their next game, while Maccabi will be going to Paris to play their game. So a win for Paris Saint-Germain automatically knocks out Maccabi Haifa fully. Juventus, if they beat Benfica, they will go at 6 points, waiting to their last game against Paris Saint-Germain, where that permutation will either be Benfica might just be looking for a draw to sneak in on terms of goal difference, while Maccabi, Juventus must have an outright win of their last 2 games. So it's still no boys, but I think he's already done and dusted in that group.
A big one there. Julian task for Juventus if they are to qualify in that particular group, because right now Benfica and PSG are really coasting home. They want to make sure they are the one that will qualify from that group H there. We've been looking at UEFA Champions as it went down, but really good one for Real Madrid and Manchester City. Despite playing draw, they have now qualified and they're really celebrating before they show their class. Let's see, maybe this year Man City can actually do it. A lot of people are waiting to see if Manchester City, PSG, the 2 teams that have been so obsessed with getting UEFA Champions League Cup, but it's really eluding them. Well, for Real Madrid, they know how to do their thing. They are the king of that cup.
For Man City, I think the factor of Erling Haaland could be decisive. The race in the Premier League is different. The race in the Champions League is different. It is for those that want it more. It is for those teams that need to say, why? We've been waiting these long years. For Pep, he's under serious pressure because you spent more money than any of the coaches in the Champions League. Buy defenders, they buy striker, they buy midfielder, they buy. Now, you've gotten an Haaland, his physique, the way he scores his goals makes it look like football is just 1 + 1 = 2. And that factor, when it gets out easily on injury, can Alvarez step into the play? But it's still open, and let's just wait until the group stage. So from the next round, we will know who is who or who really wants it more.
You know who is who and who really wants it more. Coming from Busayo Oluokere there, he has actually talked about big soccer league and also development of that sport in Nigeria. And we hope that the Super Saiyan Eagles can make it to Maputo to fight for honors in the African Nations Cup big soccer competition. And also for Flamingos, we wish them the best against New Zealand. They can't do it. Just believe in yourself. And for UEFA Champions League team like Maccabi Haifa, celebrations galore there in Israel. Good one, Busayo, to be here on the show.
Always a pleasure anytime to talk sports. It's my job. It's our job. Anytime you just call, we always come through.
Good one there. I am Adeni Ajishafe. Thanks for watching.